The air in the command center was thick with the acrid scent of burnt coffee and the heavier, more oppressive smell of failure. Holographic maps flickered on the main display, showing a desolate, snow-swept landscape in the Caucasus Mountains. Red icons, representing the elite Ghost Recon team, were static, their last known positions marked by ominous blips. Blue icons, denoting the target, a notorious arms dealer named Kellenville, were moving steadily, inexorably towards a fortified extraction point. General Thorne, his face a mask of grim determination, slammed his fist on the console. Status report. What's the last word from Ghostly? Major Anya Sharma, the mission's intelligence officer, her usually calm demeanor frayed at the edges. Nothing, sir. We lost contact with Ghost Lead, Cal C Inspector, 20 minutes ago. The last transmission was garbled. Something about heavy resistance and a compromised position. Compromised? Thorne roared, his voice echoing through the tense room. They were supposed to be in and out. A surgical strike. Volkov is about to board that private jet, and if he gets away, he'll arm half the rogue states on the planet. The mission, codenamed Operation Black Ice, had been meticulously planned for months. Volkov, a phantom in the international underworld, had finally been cornered in a remote, heavily guarded compound. The Ghosts, a small, highly specialized unit renowned for their stealth and precision, were the only ones capable of infiltrating such a fortress. Their objective: neutralize Volkov and secure his data servers, which contained a complete list of his clients and their illicit transactions. But something had gone terribly wrong. The intel had indicated a skeleton crew. Instead, the Ghosts had encountered a small army well-armed and seemingly anticipating their arrival. 3 Ghosts were confirmed down, 2 injured, and the rest were scattered, fighting for their lives in a blizzard that had descended with unexpected ferocity. "Sir, we need to initiate extraction for the remaining Ghosts," a communications specialist urged, his voice tight with concern. "They're exposed, outmanned, and the weather is worsening. Visibility is near zero." Thorne closed his eyes, a muscle twitching in his jaw. To pull them out now meant Volkov escape. It meant months of planning, immense resources, and the lives of his best soldiers, all for nothing. But to leave them? No, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Anya hesitated. Wraith, sir, was on overwatch. She was supposed to provide long-range support, but with the blizzard, her visibility would be severely limited. We haven't had a clear signal from her since the initial engagement. Wraith call scene for Sergeant Lena, the newest and arguably the most unconventional member of the Ghost Recon team, a former Olympic biathlete with an uncanny knack for marksmanship and an almost supernatural ability to move undetected in extreme environments. She was a lone wolf, preferring to operate independently, a trait that often irked her more team-oriented comrades. But her results were undeniable. "Get me Wraith," Thorne ordered, his voice brooking no argument. "Patch her through, even if it's static. I need to know if she has eyes on Vol." The comm specialist frantically worked his console, a faint hiss of static filling the speakers. The tension in the room was suffocating. Every second that ticked by was another step closer to Volkov's escape, another nail in the coffin of Operation Black Ice. On the main screen, the blue icon representing Volkov's convoy was now mere meters from the extraction jet. The jet's engines were spooling up, a low rumble audible even through the command center's advanced audio systems. "He's boarding, sir," Anya exclaimed, her voice laced with despair. "It's over." A collective sigh of defeat swept through the command center. Heads dropped. The mission was a bust. Volkov had won. The implications were dire. A geopolitical earthquake waiting to happen. Just as Thorne was about to give the order for a full retreat, to salvage what little they could from the wreckage of the operation, a voice, faint at first, then clearer, crackled through the comms. "Ghost Recon Actual, this is Wraith, do you copy?" Every head in the command center snapped up. A wave of stunned disbelief, followed by a surge of desperate hope, washed over the room. "Wraith, this is Ghost Recon Actual. Report, what's your status? What's your position?" Thorne demanded, his voice tight with a mixture of relief and urgency. "Status green. Position overlooking extraction point. 2.3 kilometers. Bearing 045. Wraith's voice was calm, almost unnervingly so, given the chaos that had just unfolded. Anya quickly brought up Wraith's last known position on the map. "Sir, that's impossible. Her last known position was over 5 kilometers away, and the blizzard is raging. She couldn't have covered that distance, let alone set up a shot, in this weather." "Quiet, Thorne snapped, his eyes fixed on the screen, where a faint green blip now appeared, impossibly close to the target. "Wraith, confirm eyes on target. Is Volkov boarding the jet?" "Affirmative. Actual. Volkov is at the boarding ramp. 2 bodyguards flanking him, 1 more at the top of the ramp." The command center held its breath. Could she actually do it? In this weather, with that distance? It was a near impossible shot for even the most seasoned sniper. "Wraith, do you have a clean shot?" Thorne asked, his voice barely a whisper. A brief pause, then Wraith's voice, clear and resolute, cut through the static. "Negative. Actual. Too many friendlies in the vicinity. Risk of collateral damage to high. The hope in the room deflated. A collective groan was over. She had eyes on him, but couldn't take the shot. Volkov was getting away. Thorne cursed, slamming his hand on the console again. Aboard. All ghosts. Withdraw. Operation Black Ice is a bust. Just as the comm specialist was about to relay the abort order, Wraith's voice came again, sharper this time, with an undertone of fierce determination. Negative, actual, requesting permission to engage. I have an alternative solution. Thorne froze. Alternative solution, Wraith explained. My position offers a direct line of sight to the jet's auxiliary fuel tank. A single, well-placed shot will disable the aircraft without risk to Volkov or his immediate vicinity. It'll ground the jet, allowing ground teams to move in. Anya's eyes widened. Sir, that's incredibly risky. A fuel tank explosion could still cause significant collateral damage, not to mention the risk to Wraith herself from the blast radius, even at that distance. Wraith, confirm your assessment of collateral damage, Thorne demanded, ignoring Anya. Minimal, actual, the tank is isolated. The blast will be contained to the immediate vicinity of the aircraft. Volkov and his bodyguards will be disoriented, but not critically injured. Ground teams can move in within 90 seconds of impact. Thorne looked at the flickering map. The other ghosts were still scattered, but if the jet was grounded, they could regroup and converge on the target. It was a desperate gamble, but it was their only chance. Permission granted, Wraith Thorne said, his voice firm. Execute, and make it count. Copy, engaging. A profound silence descended upon the command center. Every eye was fixed on the main screen, on the tiny green blip representing Wraith, and the blue icon of Volkov's jet. The rumble of the jet engines grew louder, a taunting roar of escape. Seconds stretched into an eternity. The air was so thick with anticipation, you could almost taste it. Then, a single, sharp crackle burst through the comms, followed by a faint, distant thud that even the command center's soundproofing couldn't entirely muffle. On the main screen, the blue icon of Volkov's jet, which had been moments from takeoff, suddenly flared red, then went static. A small, secondary explosion icon appeared near its tail. And then, Wraith's voice.com, and utterly devoid of triumph, echoed through the speakers. Ghost Recon Actual, this is Wraith. Target neutralized, you got the target. The words hung in the air. A moment of stunned silence, then a cacophony of shouts, cheers, and relieved laughter erupted in the command center. Anya Sharma let out a whoop of joy, tears streaming down her face. The comm specialist pumped his fist in the air. Thorne, for the first time in hours, allowed himself a genuine smile. She got the target, he repeated, his voice filled with pride. Damn right, she did. Within minutes, the remaining ghost teams, galvanized by Wraith's impossible shot, began to converge on the grounded jet. Volkov and his disoriented bodyguards were quickly apprehended. The data servers were secured. Operation Black Ice, against all odds, was a resounding success. Back at headquarters, days later, the debriefing was a stark contrast to the chaos of the mission. The command center was buzzing with a triumphant energy. General Thorne stood before a large screen displaying the mission's successful conclusion. Sergeant Petrova, Thorne began, his gaze sweeping over the assembled officers and analysts. Your actions during Operation Black Ice were nothing short of extraordinary. Under extreme conditions, with limited visibility and immense pressure, you've executed a shot that not only saved the mission but prevented a global catastrophe. Your ingenuity, your precision, and your unwavering dedication to the objective are a testament to the elite training and unparalleled skill of our Ghost Recon operators. Lena Petrova stood at attention, her uniform crisp, her expression impassive. She was not one for grand speeches or accolades. Her focus was always on the mission, on the task at hand. However, Thorne continued, a slight frown creasing his brow, your independent actions, while ultimately successful, did raise concerns regarding adherence to established protocols. Your decision to engage the aircraft's fuel tank, while brilliant, was a high-risk maneuver that deviated from standard operating procedures. We need to understand your thought process, Sergeant. Lena's eyes, usually cool and detached, held a spark of something unreadable. Sir, with all due respect, standard operating procedures were no longer applicable. The mission was failing. Volkov was escaping. My assessment indicated that a direct shot on Volkov was impossible without unacceptable collateral damage. Disabling the aircraft was the only viable option to prevent his escape and secure the objective. But the risk, Sergeant Anya interjected, her voice still tinged with the anxiety of that night. The risk to yourself and the potential for a larger explosion. Calculated risk, Majalina stated, her voice calm. My training allows me to assess trajectories, wind speed, atmospheric pressure, and potential blast radii with a high degree of accuracy. The blizzard, while hindering visibility, also provided a natural dampening effect for any potential concussive force. The risk was within acceptable parameters for mission success. Thorne nodded slowly, He knew Lena's capabilities. Her almost superhuman ability to process complex variables in real time was legendary. It was why she was a ghost. "And your decision to move to that position, Sergeant," Thorne pressed. "It was well beyond your designated Overwatch zone, and through terrain that was considered impassable in those conditions." "Sir, when Ghost Lead reported compromised, I anticipated Volkov's immediate extraction attempt," Lena explained. "My original Overwatch position would have been useless. I moved to a position that offered the best potential for a kill shot, or, failing that, a means to prevent his escape. The terrain was challenging, but not impassable for someone with my specialized training." She paused, then added, almost as an afterthought, "And I had a personal stake in this, sir. Volkov was responsible for the deaths of several of my former teammates in a previous operation. I wasn't going to let him get away." A ripple went through the room. Lena rarely spoke of her past or her motivations. This was a rare glimpse into the fierce, personal drive that fueled her. Thorne looked at her, a newfound respect in his eyes. "Understood, Sergeant. Your initiative, while pushing the boundaries, ultimately saved the mission. We will, however, be reviewing our protocols to better integrate the unique capabilities of operators like yourself into future mission planning." He then turned to the screen where Lena's profile now appeared, adorned with a new medal icon. "For exceptional bravery, tactical brilliance, and unwavering commitment to the mission, Sergeant Lena Petrova is hereby awarded the Medal of Valor. Furthermore, she is promoted to the rank of Staff Sergeant, effective immediately." A round of applause erupted, genuine and heartfelt. Lena, for the first time, allowed a faint, almost imperceptible smile to touch her lips. In the days and weeks that followed, the story of Wraith became a legend within Ghost Recon. She was no longer just the quiet, unconventional sniper. She was the one who had pulled victory from the jaws of defeat, the one who had made the impossible shot. The success of Operation Black Ice had far-reaching consequences. Volkov's network was dismantled, his clients exposed, and a significant blow was dealt to the global arms trade. The world was a safer place, thanks to the Ghosts, and especially thanks to Lena Petrova continued to serve with Ghost Recon, her reputation growing with each successful mission. She remained a lone wolf, but her teammates now understood her methods, her unique approach to They trusted her implicitly, knowing that when all else failed, when everyone else thought the mission was lost, Wraith would find a way. She was the ghost among ghosts, the silent guardian who struck from the shadows, the one who always got the target, no matter the odds. And in the annals of Ghost Recon history, her name would forever be etched as the one who, when all hope seemed lost, radioed in those 4 unforgettable words. She got the target. The incident also led to a significant shift in how Ghost Recon planned its operations. Thorne, recognizing the value of unconventional thinking and individual initiative, established a new unit within Ghost Recon, specifically designed to foster and utilize the unique talents of operators like Lena Disyun. Dubbed Shadows, would specialize in high-risk, high-reward missions, where traditional methods might fall short. Lena naturally was appointed as its first commanding officer. Her leadership style was as unique as her combat skills. She didn't micromanage. Instead, she empowered her team, pushing them to think outside the box, to trust their instincts, and to embrace calculated risks. Under her command, the Shadows became Ghost Recon's secret weapon, deployed when conventional approaches reached their limits. Lena also became an advocate for advanced training in extreme environments, drawing on her biathlon background. She pushed for new equipment, new techniques, and new ways of thinking about infiltration and extraction in the harshest conditions. Her insights revolutionized Ghost Recon's cold weather operations, making them even more formidable. Despite her growing fame within the military, Lena remained grounded. She avoided the spotlight, preferring the quiet satisfaction of a mission accomplished. Her personal life remained private, her focus unwavering on her duty and her commitment to protecting the innocent. Occasionally, in the quiet moments between missions, she would remember the faces of her fallen comrades, the ones Volkov had taken, and in those moments the fire in her eyes would burn a little brighter, a silent promise that their sacrifices would not be in vain. She was not just a soldier, she was an avenger, a protector, and a symbol of unwavering resolve. The world might never know the full extent of her contributions, the countless lives saved, the countless threats neutralized, but within the elite ranks of Ghost Recon, and among the grateful few who understood the true nature of her work, Staff Sergeant Lena Petrova Calcine Wraith was a legend. She was the one who proved that even when everyone thought the mission had failed, a single, determined individual with unparalleled skill and an unbreakable will could turn the tide. And that, sometimes, the most effective weapon is not brute force, but precise, audacious ingenuity delivered by the hand of a ghost.